Hello everyone, welcome to our very official TED show, where we guarantee you'll leave today with two things, wisdom and...
A mind full of curiosity or confusion. Either way, you're welcome. And we are the dynamic duo hosting it all. I'm Mariana and this is Ivan.
And no, before you ask, I'm not the drivers of today's tech show. Because guess what? Today we're driving into some high-tech topics, and one of them might just involve cars that drive themselves.
Speaking of journeys, our first speaker, Nika, is taking us on a trip. She's going to show us how traveling can be more than just sightseeing.
So grab your virtual passports, here's Nika to show us how traveling can change your life.
Do I look like a traveler? Probably not. Do I look like someone who has been to 21 countries? Maybe not, but I have. Do my travels change my life? Absolutely. You might think that traveling is just about beaches, food, and water parks. But it's much more than that. Traveling is about discovering the world, expanding your outlook, and transforming your life. Is it usual for you to get a sunburn with cows nearby on the beach? Probably not. Once, on French island of Corsica, I had exactly this experience. When you encounter something so unusual, does it change your perspective? I think it does. When I ask my mom for a peach, I expect a soft, pink-yellow fruit. But when she hands me a large purple fruit that tastes like a plum, my idea of what peach can be changed. Usually when someone says bee, we imagine a black insect with yellow stripes. But what if I told you that there are bees without yellow stripes? These strange and unexpected things challenge our minds and teach us to see familiar things from different perspectives. I'll share another experience that changed my view on something. In 2021, when I was in Spain with my mom, we visited a fascinating place. I couldn't figure out where we were. Was it a park? A museum? There were sculptures, paintings, a little garden, and even a small restaurant. I thought maybe it was an old gallery. We walked around until I finally asked my mom, "Where are we?" She answered, "We are at the University of Seville." I was confused, so I asked again, "And that restaurant?" She replied, "That's the student cafeteria." I was stunned. At that moment, I realized how different universities in Ukraine and other countries can be. I told my mom that I wanted to study at a university like this one. She supported my decision, but then she asked, "Do you notice a difference between students here and students in Ukraine?" We walked around the campus observing the students. How do we usually see Ukrainian students? Often they're scrolling through social media, TikTok, news feeds, or Google. Here I saw a completely different picture. Students were reading books, discussing scientific projects with each other and with professors. They were focused on self-development, in-person communication, and education. It was then that I understood. We can live differently. When we travel, we dive deep into the culture and atmosphere of the country we're in. We learn about different traditions, read about the history of cities, and visit monuments. This is how we truly get to know a country. Life is like a book, but if we don't travel, we only read the title.
Wait, cows on the beach? Now that's what I call a true vacation surprise. But honestly, Nika just took us on a journey that's way more than just weird travel stories. She's shown us how travel can completely change the way we see the world, like how a simple peach can have an entirely different meaning.
And that eye-opening moment in Spain at the University of Seville. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea the students actually read books, real one, not just TikTok.
Honestly, after hearing all of that, I'm thinking maybe I should start traveling more. Who knows? It might just change my life. All right, next up, we're driving into the future, where cars drive themselves, which sounds awesome, if not a little creepy. I mean, imagine getting into a car with no one at the wheel.
Well, Danya's here to show us how electric and autonomous car could change the game of clean energy. Maybe soon our ride to school will be futuristic?
Futuristic or not, if I can't plug my phone into it, I'm out.
Oh, I'm sure you'll manage. Let's hear it from Danya.
Autonomous and electric vehicles are poised to become key tools in the fight for cleaner energy and sustainable development. Their impact on the transportation sector is already evident, and in the coming decades, they could radically transform the way we interact with mobility, energy systems, and the environment. One of the greatest advantages of autonomous electric vehicles is their ability to integrate seamlessly with renewable energy sources. By connecting to smart grids, autonomous electric vehicles can play an essential role in energy storage and distribution. These vehicles can charge with renewable sources such as wind or solar, generate excess energy and return it to the grid during periods of high demand. Electric vehicles also directly contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, as they do not rely on fossil fuels. According to one research, the shift to electric vehicles could significantly lower air pollution levels, which in turn would improve public health and reduce healthcare costs associated with pollution-related diseases. Autonomous vehicles also have the potential to transform our cities. With high-level automation, the traffic flows could be better organized and parking optimized. This not only lowers energy consumption, but also ensures greater efficiency in use of the urban space, which is especially important in the context of rapid urbanization. However, for this potential to be realized, significant investment in infrastructure and supportive policies are needed. Issues such as data security, the ethics of autonomous driving, and integration with existing road networks require careful consideration. Governments and private companies must collaborate to create the legal and technical frameworks necessary to implement autonomous and electric vehicles on a global scale. Considering all these factors, it can be said that electric and autonomous vehicles have enormous potential to revolutionize clean energy. Technological advancements, combined with the necessary political and economic decisions, could make this potential a reality in the coming years.
I have to admit, the idea of car driving me around sounds amazing. Think of all the time you'd have for scrolling through memes.
But what if your car decides it's tired of your music and just drives you to the nearest library?
Then I just hope it has a free Wi-Fi.
All right, next up, prepare to question everything you knew about AI. We all love our gadgets, right? I mean, who doesn't trust Siri to totally understand us?
Right? But if I tell you that AI isn't as biased as we thought, in fact, it might be judging us harder than our parents at a parent-teacher conference.
Exactly. Lisa used to think AI was this flawless genius until she found out it's not always the brightest bulb in the box. Spoiler alert, it learns from us, and we've got issues.
And don't even get started on the privacy stuff. Who's really listening when we talk to Alexa?
So let's find out if AI is trustworthy. Here's Lisa.
In today's world, AI is becoming increasingly embedded in our daily lives. A 2022 study by the Pew Research Center found that 27% of Americans interact with AI at least several times a day, while another 28% engage with it about once a day or several times a week. And this was just after the launch of ChatGPT, and we can only imagine how much this number has grown since then. The statistics suggest that people are trusting AI with a wide range of tasks. But should they? I used to believe that AI was inherently unbiased, that it always provided the most objective outcome, free from personal prejudice. After all, AI isn't a person, so how could it be biased? But that belief is mistaken. AI learns from the data we provide. If the data is skewed or excludes certain perspectives, the AI's conclusions will also be biased. This is a real issue. For example, the gender shade study led by Joy Boylan-Vinny and Timnit Gebru in 2018 analyzed facial recognition software from major tech companies. The study revealed that these systems had high accuracy for white male faces, but struggled significantly with darker-skinned female faces, with error rates up to 35% higher. Imagine the consequences of such bias in critical fields like law enforcement or hiring, where AI's decisions could dramatically influence people's lives. Another critical issue we need to consider is privacy. AI systems often require vast amounts of personal and sensitive data. For example, voice assistants and smart devices record their conversations, online interactions, and even movements. However, users frequently don't know how this data is stored and shared. Without clear privacy guidelines, the potential for misuse is high. As a society, we need to ask ourselves if we are comfortable sharing personal information for AI to function, and how we balance these benefits with our fundamental right to privacy. And lastly, but perhaps most interestingly, should we limit AI's development? You might be thinking, obviously we shouldn't. Why should we? AI has the potential to make our lives so much easier. And I would answer, that's precisely the problem. AI can already write text, generate images and videos, answer questions, and even create plans or instructions. Imagine how advanced it will be in 50 years. Jobs like translators or web designers might not be useful anymore. As AI continues to progress, people will need more specialized skills to remain competitive in the job market. Not everyone will be able to keep up with those standards. As a result, many people might find themselves forced into less desirable jobs or struggling to find work at all. As we advance AI, part of our ethical responsibility lies in ensuring that we create systems that don't unfairly disadvantage people. If we're building a future with AI, we must ask ourselves, are we prioritizing fairness, social stability, and equal opportunities for all? AI presents us with incredible opportunities, but it also brings significant ethical challenges. As we continue to develop AI, we need to ensure that it is fair, transparent, and respects fundamental human rights. The question isn't whether we should trust AI, it's how can we make it trustworthy for all.
And now for a topic that every single one of us can relate to. Whether you're sending quick texts, scrolling through Instagram, or posting a TikTok, Bogdan is here to tell us how your language has completely transformed because of social media. Mariana, do you even understand half the words kids say these days?
Barely. Just when I figure out what LOL means, everyone starts talking about the Lulu and trees. I won. Can you imagine trying to explain this to your grandparents?
But it's not just slang. Bogdan is going to explain how social media has become a whole new language on its own. So give it up for Bogdan with digital communication, how texting and social media are changing language.
It is not a surprise to anyone that while using social media, people usually use a different type of English language, opposed to one used in real life. Social media has transformed how we communicate, giving rise to a unique style of language that differs from everyday spoken or written English. Known as social media language, this style is informal, filled with abbreviations, slang, and shortened words. For example, expressions like ghosting, delulu, riz, FOMO, IRL have become popular shorthand online. A recent survey showed that 86% of parents believe that teens and young adults use an entirely different language while using social media. So, why do we change our language so much on social media? The answer is pretty obvious. It's convenience. People are lazy beings. Typing full sentences with perfect grammar can be time-consuming, especially for casual chatting. Instead, people create acronyms, they abbreviate words, and play with spelling. This language evolves quickly because people want fast, easy ways to communicate, and sometimes they even create new words for humor or effect. These language shifts are not without a concern. Some worry that social media, slang and abbreviations could harm traditional communication skills such as grammar and sentence structure. But language has always evolved to meet the needs of its speakers. Just as old words being replaced with new ones and phrases shift in meaning, social media language is simply a faster-paced example of this ongoing process. While new words may emerge online, formal language still remains consistent in professional and educational settings. In the end, social media language is just like a dialect, while the words like flex and savage are common online, they aren't universally accepted outside social media. Language will continue evolving with our online habits, but the core structures and rules of formal language will remain largely intact in the foreseeable future.
Well, that's a wrap, folks. We covered everything from life-changing travel to robot ethics. to the confusing world of texting. I don't know about you, Mariana, but I feel smarter already.
Same here. And I think we all have some new idea to think about. Whether we talk in travel, cars, robots, or digital slang, we've learned a ton.
And if you're as pumped as we are, remember to keep exploring these ideas. Maybe even plan a trip.
Or finally text your friend back. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.